Politicians from both Labour and the Conservatives have been criticised recently for the way they've used statistics. Crime figures and defence spending are just two of the areas that have failed to cut the mathematical mustard. Now the Immigration Minister, Phil Woolas, is in hot water over new figures showing that while there are 1.67 million new jobs compared to 1997, there are now 1.64 million more foreign-born workers in the country. When Andrew pinned him down on yesterday's programme, Mr Woolas denied that this was the case.
In the third quarter of last year, 98%, 98.5% of the extra 1.7 million jobs in the economy were taken by foreign-born workers. That is what the Office of National Statistics tells us.
No, you're conflating
and Eurostat, by the way, has not questioned that. Eurostat has not come back and said we don't understand these figures.
You're conflating two things. It is like saying, for example, that 50,000 people go to see Arsenal at every match. There have been 10 matches, therefore 500,000 people have been. In fact, it may be the same people going 10 times, and that's the statistical trick that has been pulled.
Well, that was the Immigration Minister, Phil Woolas, talking to Andrew yesterday. And we can speak now to Tim Harford, who presents BBC Radio 4's programme on numbers and statistics, more or less. He's also a columnist for the Financial Times, and he joins us now from Cambridge. Can you just tell us, is Phil Woolas wrong when he talks about double counting in those statistics?
Yes, we think he is wrong. I couldn't really understand what Phil Woolas was talking about yesterday. We have tried to get the Labour Party to explain it to us, but they haven't as yet responded. These figures for foreign-born workers, the number of foreign-born workers in the economy, they come from the Office for National Statistics, and what the Office for National Statistics does is carry out a survey, and it carried out a survey in 1997 and tried to count foreign-born workers. And then it carried out a survey in 2009, carried out lots of surveys in between. It carried out a survey in 2009 and also tried to count foreign-born workers. You compare the one with the other, there's no double counting, there's an increase in the number of foreign-born workers. Many may have left, many may have arrived, but you're comparing two snapshots. And so Phil Woolas, I think, was completely mistaken in what he said, and we're still waiting to hear back as to why he made the mistake.
So basically, those statistics were correct. As you said, they're two snapshots, so the majority of those new jobs have been taken by foreign-born workers.
Well, let me correct you there. There are a couple of things that are worth bearing in mind. One is the statistics that you quoted exclude men over 64 and women over 59, and it's not quite clear why anybody would want to do that. And if you include those older workers, actually there are about 1/3 more net new jobs created than new foreign-born workers, and I think that's important. The other thing is, of course, we shouldn't assume that there is a number of jobs that have just been created as if by magic, and then suddenly a bunch of foreign-born workers walked in and took all the jobs. One of the reasons why there have been so many net new jobs is because there are more people in the country, and that means there's more work to be done. So it's important to bear that context in mind.
Tim Harford, thank you.
OK, thanks. Stephen Timms, does the government now accept the ONS figures?
Well, as I understood what Tim was just saying, he was telling us that there were 1/3 more jobs created than workers from outside the UK.
No, what he was saying, well, the figures we used yesterday referred to those of working age between 16 and 64, for women up to 59.
Yeah.
If you add that in, obviously the number of foreign-born workers comes down because older people tend to be British-born in this country.
Yeah.
The figures are, which Mr Woolas tried to deny yesterday and said there was double counting, but there cannot be. Will you accept that there cannot be double counting in a labour force survey, which is a snapshot of events at one particular time?
Yes, I would certainly accept that. But the picture, which I think Phil was making the point that there are more jobs created than there are foreign-born workers. I thought that's what Tim was just saying. But I'd be very happy to take the matter away and have a look at the figures, which I haven't had a chance to do.
He said that what this survey had done was as if it was said there are 50,000 people went to an Arsenal game, and then another 10 games 50,000 went, and the survey came out, well, 500,000 had gone to an Arsenal game, whereas obviously there would be massive double counting. Do you accept that this labour force survey, to use his analogy, would only actually count one Arsenal game of 50,000? A snapshot in time.
I certainly accept that the labour force survey does not do double counting.
Now, and what this snapshot shows from Q3 of last year is that there were 1.67 million extra jobs, or people in employment, compared with 1997. But that there were also 1.64 million jobs taken by people who were foreign-born.
Well, Andrew, I'll have to look at the survey. I'll very happily do so. But the point that Tim made, I thought I heard him say, was that there are a third more jobs created than people working in from outside the UK.
That's when you add in the pensioners.
Yeah.
If you
well,
add in,
I think it's fair to do that. I think it's fair to do that.
Perhaps, but even so, if you do that, a majority of extra employment still goes to the foreign-born. Now, that may be a good or a bad thing. That's not the issue. That's up to politicians to decide. But to have the debate, we need to have the figures right. If you add in those of pensionable age who are still working, and of course it's a legitimate question to ask why they are, the number of extra jobs created, or the numbers of employment, is 2.5 million higher than 1997. Please go away and come back to us. And
very happily do it.
It's on our website as well to have a look at these figures.
Very happily do it.
Because I know that you're not across it.
I think the fact that older people are working longer is a good thing. A lot of older people want to be able to work longer, and I welcome.
They may be working longer because they're pensioned.
And one of the real issues is the fact that immigrants who aren't working, the immigrants are on benefit, and I think that's of more concern to most people. And the problem is the Conservative and Labour Party have voted in Parliament to prevent asylum seekers working while the Home Office sorts out their papers. Surely those people should be working.
David, we were just trying to get some statistical clarity here. I was hoping to avoid any party political points. Anyway, Joe.